Time now for the good news segments. Don't go away.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Good news.
Okay. The first thing we have on good news is a group that is stepping up to disaster response preparations. Sorry.
Okay.
You know how if flood occurs here in our base Ghana,
Right.
NADMO comes to share rice
Yeah,
and stew.
Well, they're doing well in some areas though, but it's just that sometimes the nature in which I don't know, I don't know if it's about the I don't even know what to say.
If they don't have what they need.
Sometimes they just lack some logistics. I don't know. It takes longer time for them to respond sometimes because of the whole, PR gimmick thing.
PR gimmick.
But I think it's not a gimmick. It's like
No, it's like I get it. I get where you're coming from, but it's like disasters are bound to happen. So
Yeah.
you should already put things in place for when they happen.
Yeah.
But you don't wait till the disaster happens and you're now putting things in place. You're now putting things together.
Yeah.
Certain natural disasters will occur from time to time. One of the ones that we face more frequently here in Ghana is floods.
Flooding. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know when the rains come,
Right.
floods are most certain to come.
And we
You
know
already
the areas that
Yes, areas that are actually prone
to
to
flood,
flooding.
yeah.
You just make preparations in advance. We are not saying because you make preparations, you're wishing for it to happen, even if it won't happen.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. So most definitely it will happen. So just make plans for it.
I'm loving the one in Mozambique. What are they doing?
So yeah, Mozambique is among the most disaster-prone countries in the world, and MSF, which stands for Médecins Sans Frontières, is a group that is a group in Beira in Mozambique
Okay.
that whose primary focus is to continue working with key communities and providing treatments for patients with advanced HIV.
Whoa.
So Mozambique, like I said, is among the most disaster-prone countries in the world.
Okay.
Natural disasters such as floods, cyclones, drought, and earthquakes have had a significant impact on Mozambique's people. Cyclone Idai, which occurred on 14th March 2019, made landfall in the eastern city of Beira, the capital of Sofala province, reduced 80% of the city to ruins, and left over 600 people dead and more than 1,600 injured. A little over a year later, Beira was pummeled against by two strong tropical storms,
Okay.
Charlene and Eloise. So, like I said, MSF's primary focus is to work with communities to treat patients with advanced HIV. However, recognizing the need for better disaster response plans, the project has taken a proactive approach in preparing its team and local organizations ahead of the rainy season. Responding to an emergency involves the whole project, not only water and sanitation, logistics and medical teams, but the finance and supply departments as well. We started with the theory why, who, how, when, defining scenarios, alert systems, preparedness, and response processes. Then we moved on to practical scenarios.
Okay.
In just 1 week, the MSF office in Beira was turned into a mock cholera treatment center, had water jetting hose and water treatment units installed in its garden.
Okay.
Now, this is very important because immediately after a disaster, we are in a precarious situation without access to available sources of water. So, before the main response starts, we can rush to the emergency area with this equipment, which is low cost and only needs human labor,
Okay.
and quickly extract water for people to use in the initial stages of the emergency situation without the need for a lot of import resources and technical equipment.
Okay.
We can just extract water from underground aquifers.
It may be Portuguese, so Mozambique they speak Portuguese.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But I think it has something to do with water.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if there's aqui,
Yes, aquifers.
yes it is.
So yeah, so
I haven't said anything.
So yeah, so MSF I think is like they have moved from their primary focus, and they have added a proactive approach in preparing their team and local organizations ahead of the rainy season. So just like we're talking about floods,
Right.
they have made proactive preparations for when the flood comes. How
Right.
can we help people while we wait for, let's say, the government, or let's say
Yeah.
here in Abe's Ghana, NADMO to set in?
But I think you can also give Nadmo the benefit of the doubt. Or you
I'm
can
not
cut them some
saying
slack in terms of yeah. I think you went with the right jab. If this was a boxing bout, that guy would have been knocked out.
I'm not saying NADMO is not doing what they're supposed
Yeah.
to do. I'm
Okay.
just saying you were talking about how it takes time because of PR and
Yeah,
stuff.
you know.
I mean, this is going to happen.
Yeah, so why not put things in
So
place?
this
But
is
yeah,
basically
I think,
about
okay,
being
I get where you're
proactive.
coming from.
It's like
yeah.
we know every year the rains come and then
We don't need
floods
to
come.
wait.
We don't need to wait
like this move,
for the
yeah.
flood to occur before we start putting things together to go and sort people out.
Right. But I think recently they've been, embarking upon. Why am I defending? I'm not defending. It's actually what they're doing.
Okay.
They're looking to, what do you call it? Pull down buildings that are on waterways and all of those stuff. In the first place, it should not be sold. By the way, the land shouldn't have not been sold to whoever.
Yeah, it's like
I
what's the
wonder-
Lands Commission doing about this?
Well, have you heard about questions for the gods?
Well, let's move on to our last good news story.
Right.
So, Mmaditlhokwa. You know how South African words.
A very sometimes.
It's like
difficult.
it's like you pronounce it as H, but then you get a South African to pronounce it for you, and it's not even an H.
Like that language,
So I'm just pronouncing it as I see it. Please forgive me if it's not right.
So-
It's
Uh-huh.
Mmaditlhokwa community
Thank you.
in Rustenburg receives food and vegetable parcels. So TKR Operations is committed to support and impact the community it operates in.
Okay.
The company is dedicated to improving the lives of the communities in a positive and meaningful way.
Right.
Through the company's social labor plan, the current initiatives include school feeding schemes, PPE donations, and school sanitization services in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
In partnership with Theresa Mind, the company recently reached out to some of the vulnerable families and supplied 12 vegetable packs and 70 food parcels. The parcels were handed out by employees with assistance from the community representatives. With the current tough economic challenges, including the impact of the pandemic and its effects on the economy, there is a need for initiatives such as these random acts of kindness to help make a difference in the lives of our communities, says Adrian Piernard of TKR Operations.
Okay.
The company intends to regularly donate food parcels to the community and will continue to identify sustainable ways to help improve the lives of the surrounding communities.
Okay.
I think this is good,
It's great.
especially with COVID. People have lost jobs, people have lost family members, people have lost breadwinners, and all
Yeah.
they need is a helping hand to help them back on their feet. So if TKR Operations is doing this, then we give them a round of applause and may they continue the good work.
Absolutely. This is our humanitarian week, so that's
Yes,
like
so
a-
yes, that is
a
an act
very-
of kindness.
Yeah, that's
yes,
a very
that is-
good.